But today, she has yet another reason for why she walked away from cancer medication.
Very soon after I'd started this treatment here in Melbourne, I fell pregnant, and that was a huge catalyst for me.
In what way?
Because I thought, well, if I'm undergoing chemotherapy, then I don't want that to affect my pregnancy.
Oh, so you stopped the chemotherapy because you were pregnant?
I stopped the chemotherapy for various reasons. I didn't know.
Truth, Belle, truth.
Tara, I'm trying to draw on information.
No, don't draw on information. Just be honest.
I am being honest with you.
Okay. Chase, what do you got?
I think, Mark, I'm going to go to your upward tone thing here. I'm just going to touch on it. She says, I felt pregnant. Not I was pregnant. And I can feel pregnant too. I can. Which reminded me of that scene from Meet the Parents when the dad, he's talking about milking cats. And he says, you can milk anything with nipples. And the dad goes, I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? So I was cracking up this morning watching that. So there's a lot of uncertainty there in this upward tone. I just wanted to hammer in on that I felt pregnant comment. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so let's talk about that upward tone. We hear it across all her speech because she's Australian, but we hear it at an extreme level on pregnant and pregnancy. So look, upward inflection is used across cultures around dominance, for either distributing dominance. You can use it to create a questioning tone because you don't want to assert. You can even use it assertively to go, hey, I bet you've got a question around that because you're not as intelligent as I am. It can be used in all kinds of ways. It doesn't mean one thing. In this case, I think on pregnant, she's not confident around that. I'm not sure whether there was a pregnancy or there wasn't a pregnancy. I don't know, what the actual biology was there. It wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't a pregnancy, to be honest. But if there was, then she's not even certain that is a good alibi for her. And I think that's why we get the extreme upward intonation there to distribute the power a little bit. She's not so sure. On the pregnancy, the upward intonation there, I think she's looking for buy-in on that one. And so she's come back to the idea to go, do you get that? Do you buy in with that? Is that good for you? By the way, the upward inflection in Australian probably comes from when people left the southeast of England on about 11 ships or so and arrived in Australia. And the part of the country of England where they came from already had an upward inflection. The Norfolk Broads area already had that upward inflection in it. They brought that across. Very small group of people just kept that idea going and going and going in an isolated culture. Also, when you're in an isolated culture, you need to distribute and share more power. And so you're going to have more upward intonation in your voice in order to distribute power within the group that you're with. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, so when I talk about her being like Jodi Arias, what I mean by that is they're very rigid, but they're also paying attention and they're looking for any opportunity to inject something that may change your opinion and get what they want. And they're threshold thinkers. By that, I mean they're paying attention to any change that occurs so that they can respond to that. And if you watch her, you'll see it here. She starts off and she changes her tone a little bit so you know something's up. And then she tries to fish with the pregnant thing. That's a classic, hey, but I was pregnant, so you got to kind of feel bad for me there. This woman's not buying into that at all. But when she says I felt pregnant, then she's got kind of a little smirk. I think she thinks this woman's dumb enough for that to change the topic, and it doesn't at all. And the interviewer then turns her head and starts that kind of taffy pulling, like, come on, you're not going to try that with me, are you? And she knows that this is not working. So then she has to change gears again. She does a couple of other things. She's got a little bit of anger when she tries to sidestep with the facts. Her voice actually changed. That tone indicates that she's a little irritated that it didn't work. Then she tries to change. She sees that doesn't work either. So you will see things starting to change for her. I don't see anything working for her, and I'm sure she's very frustrated because she's got that same thing Jodi Arias has about plugging into you. Scott, go ahead.
All right. I think you're right, Mark. I think the upspeak on a lot of that is because of her accent, but it goes really high when she starts hitting those things where she's just leaning into the lie real big. And we see the pauses because, again, she's searching and structuring her answer because she hasn't said these things out loud before. And I'm not so sure that somebody else hasn't talked to her about these things, but asked different questions because she's still just taking them. It's not knocking her back or anything. She's just like, yeah, coming on strong with these answers. It's kind of unbelievable when you see this, especially since she keeps getting whacked right in the head with, no, I don't believe you, no, I don't believe you, no, I don't believe you. The pupil dilation again here is bothering me because it's not really, it's big, but it's not getting really small. There's a couple of spots in here we'll look at where it gets smaller, but there's not changing a whole lot in there. So I don't know what that means yet, but it's bothering me. It's bothering me. All right. A lot of these things I think we're seeing are just fear, a lot of it. So that's another reason that she's breathing that way. And again, did you say tummy earlier, Chase?
Yeah.
It's because of that dog. Did you call it its tummy tumpkin?
Probably. Yeah. And she was in this interview, she was paid $75K to do this interview.
Oh,
well,
okay.
Here's another
go.
data point for you. I think Penguin was her publisher, and they did a mock first run with her a while back. That was a hidden video. And they were afraid that something was going to happen. So if you go look, you'll find that Penguin video as well, where she's claiming to have, some other kind of cancer and that kind of stuff. And I think it's when they first started to wonder if she was telling the truth. So yeah, you can go find that as well. So Scott, your instinct is good. She's had questioning before this.
But today, she has yet another reason for why she walked away from cancer medication.
Very soon after I'd been started this treatment here in Melbourne, I fell pregnant, and that was a huge catalyst for me.
In what way?
Because I thought, well, if I'm undergoing chemotherapy, then I don't want that to affect my pregnancy.
Oh, so you stopped the chemotherapy because you were pregnant?
I stopped the chemotherapy for various reasons. I didn't know.
Truth, Belle, truth.
Tara, I'm trying to draw on information.
No, don't draw on information. Just be honest.
I am being
Please
honest
be
with you.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.